Ramaphosa existed primarily because Cyril Ramaphosa was not Jacob Zuma. And of course, after his speech and so on, we were so filled with, oh, thank God this isn't Jacob Zuma, right? That the bar was actually set very low. And we ignored a whole number of things about him, including the fact that he was deputy president and part of Zuma's administration.
Mm.
And the failures of Zuma administration, I mean, you can't just personalize it and just say it's Jacob Zuma, but it is the ANC as a collective, and him occupying the number two spot in the country means the buck also stops with him. And and since then he hasn't done much to kickstart the economy and so forth. I'm not even going to talk about COVID because we were already in recession before COVID
Mm.
struck us.
One of the things that I am wondering about in regard of Cyril Ramaphosa is how they handled the COVID-19 funds. That all disappeared into thin air.
Absolutely. And now they are trying to put pressure on the medical aids, the private sector, the Solidarity Fund, which is again the private sector, to cough up. And no one wants to really take responsibility. And my fear is that some junior official who had siphoned off a couple of tens of thousands of rands or something might just be holding the ball on this one, as opposed to the big wigs. Um, and it's not just that. I mean, I was reading the Sunday newspapers, and they were going on about, oh, that there was this report that there was going to be a shortage of oxygen. They never prepared us for the second wave. They never paid the deposit to COVAX and so forth for us to get the vaccines. But let's be honest. Did they expect something different? This is a government that can't fill potholes, that can't keep the electricity on, that can't give us drinking water from our taps. And now they're acting surprised. Oh my God, they're messing up in terms of this. I mean, if you can't put your traffic lights on, for God's sake, what are you doing? I mean, a government by definition governs. And they haven't been able to govern. A part of it, of course, is it's not just resources. Fundamentally, it is about them not building up a tax base by not opening up the economy. Cyril gives us platitudes. So, for example, he talks about the fourth industrial revolution, but he never opened up the spectrum, the bandwidth spectrum to allow 5G to make it possible. He speaks about wonderful things, but there's no action on the ground. Part of the problem is because of cadre deployment. People are being appointed on the basis
Mm.
of now who they know as opposed to what they know. And this is not a Cyril Ramaphosa problem or a Jacob Zuma problem. It goes back, honestly, all the way back to 94.
Moving from not Jacob Zuma to Jacob Zuma, Deputy Judge President Raymond Zondo, um, chairman of the Zondo Commission, is trying to get Zuma to testify at the Zondo Commission, insofar that he has gone to the Constitutional Court. And Zuma is just defying it all. What's happening there?
Well, I mean, all of his years, Zuma played two very interesting games. On the one hand, publicly saying that, he is innocent until proven guilty, and he actually wants to have his day in court. And then he has done all of his bit from, and I'm talking about before Zondo, to actually prevent from his day in court coming, being materialized. Um, and you saw him playing those Stalingrad delay tactics again at the commission, and of course he showed that he is simply above the law by walking out. You would recall that. Of course, Zondo is taking it seriously, and there's cases and so forth. But fundamentally, it's a political question, and that revolves going back, is if you and I had shown such open defiance and so on, I'm sure that we'd be sitting behind bars long ago. And I'm not just talking about the antiques here, but perpetually there wasn't enough political need within the ANC to see this realized. And I think part of the problem is because, as an organization, this is not about Zuma. The entire organization, in its DNA fabric, is corrupt. It's institutionalized corruption. And the point here is, and I'm sure, first of all, you can't take that legal action against it because of the political divisions inside the ANC in terms of the, well, in terms of the radical economic transformation wing linked up with members of the Premier League and of course ACE and so forth. But on the other hand, there is a real fear inside the ANC that if their former number one can go to jail, so can they. Uh, uh, and fundamentally, what South Africa needs, even more than a vaccine, is the end of the ANC. But to be also honest with you, I don't see any